Today we are going to be talking about something really special, really interesting, and I can't really believe that I'm finally making an episode on this. Today we are going to be talking about what it means to be an activated goddess in human form. What does it mean to activate your inner power, your inner realization of who you actually are, and talking to the women out there, what it means to actually live as an embodied divine feminine. There are many ways to put it, however it resonates with you. For the men out there, maybe I'll make a separate episode to get you in on the perspective of high value women maybe, or what it means to be with a woman of substance, or who are they, how to recognize them. But today I'm specifically addressing women and girls out there who are on this journey or who have been called to this particular episode to hear it, to listen to it, to resonate with it on some level. This is your future actually. The things that I'm going to be talking about is what you would be experiencing in your future pretty soon. So you better get ready and you better start preparing yourself for this level of activation, this level of openness, abundance, and power. And I'm not talking about the kind of power that is used to manipulate or force or cajole people into doing things they don't want to do. I'm actually talking about the kind of power that you feel even if you're just sitting, even if you're just being, just breathing, and the level of connection that you have to your higher self, the level of connection you have to the nature around you, the creatures around you, the air around you, the water around you, and how everything resonates with you, the sunshine, the moonlight, the people around you. Everybody is influenced in a positive manner to be their best self as you exude that activated divine feminine, leading others by example, by your presence. That is, divine feminine's path is not of doing. Maybe later, yes, but on the primary level, at the core, at the foundation, the path of the divine feminine is about being, because that itself is so powerful. Really being who you are, not trying to be something else, somebody else, trying to be like man, to force ourselves into this idea of what an ideal woman should be is not really. What we're actually talking about is to what extent and in what expression, what form of expression does your particular individual facet of creation, that is you, your God being, wanted to experience itself in this physical life, and how it wants to express itself. It's not about fitting into definitions and labels are to be used and then discarded when their job is done. But I'm talking about who you are at the core, and you giving expression, you feeling safe enough, secured enough to give expression to the being that needs to shine through. That being, what I have realized about myself as I'm living more and more in sync with the flow, more and more in trust, more and more in surrender to the divine, to the higher will, and letting go of my own personal agendas and my own personal whims and fancies that really weren't really mine, that I picked from other people or what the society taught us is valuable or worthy. That doesn't work for me anymore. I have really been on this spiritual awakening journey for the past 4 or 5 years, since I had my first massive jolt, sort of waking up from the matrix and realizing that everything is backwards and that everything is a projection of me. Everything is a projection of my ideas about myself and the world and who I think of myself to be, the habits, the passions, the kind of relationship a person like me should have, my ideas about love, world, security, safety, poverty, war, anything and everything. That was defining my life, and that is what I realized. That's what led to the awakening, and I realized that I am in control of my reality now. Of course, it was incredibly painful to know that, oh my God, I've been a very shitty creator because I'm really suffering with so many things, and even I'm not being able to feel gratitude for the most amazing things in my life. We devalue our assets and we underestimate our blessings, and we overestimate the importance, attaching overestimated importance to things that really do not make our hearts sing and really are not that important. And that's what being out of balance means. But then once you start digging deeper into your inner self, your fears, your wounds, your shadows, you start processing what is not you, what is you, what you care about, which slowly and gradually starts unraveling to you, just like different layers of onion. And for those who do not like that analogy, a rose is a good example too. An ever-evolving, ever-unfolding rose whose petals keep opening and a new, inner, deeper, more sensitive, more beautiful, more aligned to the core facet and petal is shown. And then you keep shedding what's not you. And then you keep getting closer to who you actually are. And then once you start going through that dark night of the soul, you start going through those hells that you have created for yourself, and you start taking care and incorporating all those inner children that are stuck somewhere in the past, somewhere in the future, somewhere unable to process whatever happened at that moment. And then as you start incorporating them into yourself, making sense of those events and neutralizing those energies, clearing up that karmic knots, those build-up of energy, processing those emotions, and really being okay with all those things. And slowly and gently, you start building trust on yourself. You start trusting that, okay, I am somebody I am safe with. Usually we live, especially women, we have all sorts of fears around everything possible. All sorts of physical fear and sexual fears and survival fears and dependency and vulnerability as during our childbirth and child rearing years, and then all sorts of vulnerabilities and dependencies and issues around and fears around old age or not getting a partner, fears of the maiden, fears of the crone, and fears of what's the one in the middle, I don't know, the womanhood. So I would like to shed some light on how the past 4 or 5 years have completely changed me as a woman and putting me more and more in touch with what femininity means and how incredibly powerful I have been all along. And I was just playing small, thinking I'm just just somebody who's completely powerless and vulnerable and can be somebody who's just like a person with whom anybody can do anything with. And there's no boundaries and there's no sense of self, really. The sense of self I had was riddled with all sorts of misconceptions and things I picked up from somewhere, and programming and the kind of society I was born and brought up in, my parents and everything. They had their contributions in the good, the bad and the ugly and the beautiful and everything in between. Everything was there. As I started taking inventory of what are these belief systems that are limiting me and what is true, what is not true, and putting everything under the radar, under the sun, out in the open to be seen, spreading it out on the table to see what is really me, what is not me, what is what, and sorting that shit out. Slowly and gradually I started to fall in love with myself. Slowly and gradually I started to feel this immense sense of satisfaction, self-worth, self-validation, safety and security that is not externally given to me, but that I am giving to myself. And as a result, I can also appreciate the immense validation that has been bestowed on me externally as well, by existence and by the people around and by nature, by the sun accepting me for who I am, by the moon accepting me for who I am, my pets accepting me for who I am, reflections of me accepting myself really, and how they have always accepted me. It was me who had not accepted me on so many levels, and it was my validation that I cared about. And finally I'm making this episode. I could have only imagined in my wildest dreams that one day I just hoped and wished that one day I might feel like I feel now. This is even beyond those imaginations and my wonderings and my longings. To feel, like I have an anchor inside. Like I am not like a vine penning here and there's no substance and there's no anchor and there's no alignment. From that space, slowly and gradually going through my own health, processing so much trauma, doing past life regressions, learning, diving head on into my fears and trusting existence to guide me and hold me every step of the way. I'm finally started to feel like I'm on fire. Like I'm finally beginning to open my soul purpose. That divine soul plan is finally opening up for me. I can see it, I can feel it, I can breathe it. And the kind of path that existence has trusted me with, I'm actually completely enamored by it. I feel completely awestruck by my own power, actually. By the level of trust my spirit guides and mother is doing on me, is the kind of trust that they have for me. It really fills my heart. And today I'm standing here and talking to all of you, telling you, if you have been attracted to this particular episode, this is just not some ordinary transmission. This is incredibly, it's going to be true for you as well. This is a confirmation for you that you are on the same path and you will be feeling the level of self-empowerment, the self-validation, self-love, self-worth, connection with your divine essence, connection to your signature frequency, and expressing that more and more every passing second, moment by moment. Every day it will grow and you will start slowly expressing this and bringing non-physical things into the physical and creating here things for love and light. You're going to be a powerful creator is why you have been attracted to this particular episode, this particular podcast, because I have activated these goddess codes and I'm still activating them every day more and more as I'm falling more and more in love with myself, with everything around me, really realizing the power I hold and the impact of and influence I have on not just my life, but everything around and everyone around. And the ripples, just imagining and seeing the ripples of my presence, the way I sit, the way I stand, the way I feel about others, my love for myself, my love for my daughter, my love for just my workers who help me here on the farm, or my family, or just this greater global family, and even galaxies, other galaxies and our families beyond this earth. The love that I hold for everybody, it's spreading and it's expanding. And I never knew I could feel this amount of love and power and joy and bliss just by being my own self. There's no bullshit, Bullshit is just falling so quickly out of my life. 4 or 5 years back, there was so much shit. My life was incredibly crappy. I love her, love the old me. She was a stepping stone to who I am today. Without her, I could not have been. But that girl, that little girl, my God, she has gone through some stuff. And we had to work together and process all these traumas and all these unnecessary madness and dramas that she was creating in her life just because of her negative expectations from people and things. And just because her fears were just so many and so much that she kept bouncing here and there, feeling all sorts of negative emotions and feeling completely in the loop, spinning. Like she had no control over anything. Her life, anything. Everything was just happening. Just when you're in the matrix, you don't know why. You don't have any idea of cause and effect. You don't know what kind of things that you're doing or thoughts you're thinking, what kind of impact they will have on your life. But as you start building that link, as you start working on yourself, you start really unpacking this essence of cause and effect or karma, or you have that sense, discernment. You start developing discernment of this kind of thought will lead to this kind of fruit. This is how I create my own reality. This is how somebody else is creating their reality. And you have just this broader perspective as you start unpacking your fears and they start neutralizing and going away and turn into power, the same energy that's being passed through a negative belief in the form of and generating fear inside you, then same energy starts traveling through a positive belief system and start giving you power and love and joy and all the good things. So yes, when you start processing all this, your sense of self starts clearing up. What you're not keeps falling off. What you are starts really consolidating in a way. You start having this sense of what you are really. And as a woman, I had to face all sorts of fears. And not just women. Now, a woman, an ideal woman, the madness has gone to that level. Now it's not okay to be just a woman. You also have to be fully a man. You have to do all the jobs of the woman as well as the man. And you cannot, and there's no room to vent. And venting is normal then. So like an eternal state of dissatisfaction is what women of the 21st century are, at least those living in the matrix, those who are unaware of who they are and just living their life with closed eyes, experience. I had to do enormous amounts of inner work and I had to change my belief systems, my energies, on my mental, emotional, physical, all levels I had to do my work and I'm still doing it. And new layers are coming up every day and I have to process them. Any triggers, any mildly negative emotions, even if those come up, I have to see where they came from, how did they get generated, how did my energy percolate through, which sort of negative belief system did it percolate through to give me this negative experience. So it's an eternal process, of course, but once you start, it definitely gets harder in the beginning. Once you have that realization that everything is really, backwards in this reality, nothing makes any sense. And then you start really thinking, okay, then what makes sense? What is real? What is true? Because I'm done being fed this crap, that this is how I'm supposed to be. This is what will give me a sense of self or satisfaction or joy or worth. And externally, and just trying to change the reflection. That is the external thing. And completely not taking into account the projector that is projecting everything outside. That is you, your inner world, your inner belief systems and fears and all those things. So anyways, now 4 or 5 years later, now that I'm coming into my power, I feel so blessed. I feel so powerful. And now, after having asked Divine for millions of times to guide me, to use me as its instrument, to use me for love and light, to spread love and light, to remember people of their own power and how they are gods and they've forgotten they are gods. And how can they really reactivate their inner divine feminine and masculine powers, their union inside. And how they can also shine like a beam, guiding people, leading by example, guiding people to their own essence, cutting all the crap that they are not. Yeah, I feel incredibly what it means to be an activated goddess in human form. The divine will use you. You want that. That is your path of your greatest growth, your greatest potential, your greatest impact, your greatest bliss, humility, all good stuff. But also, you'll have to face all your shadows, all your fears. This is not for the faint of heart. If I have said to the divine, I surrender, and I'm here to be used by you, Mother. Use me for love and light, to spread joy, to love, to lead people by example, by my joy, by my life, by how I do things, how I think, how I speak, how I be, how I go out, how I talk to people. Everything has to be exemplary in the sense, not trying to fit into an ideal and performing. No, I don't care about performing. I care about being authentic all the time, everywhere. And yes, I am also processing many things and I'm still learning many things. My journey is definitely ongoing and unraveling, but it's very recent that I've started feeling this sense of hollowness, the kind of hollowness through which you can call the divine to work through, You can ask the divine to work through you. And the kind of energy that I exude, the kind of words that come out of my mouth, the kind of guidance that comes out of my being, and the downloads that I'm getting, the channeling, the instant channeling spontaneously that happens, it's going to shake something in people. And that's what I care about. That they really wake up from the slumber. This is not the time to sleep. This is the time to wake up. Especially all you feminines out there. And by feminine, I'm talking not just to females. I'm talking to all of you actually. Because you are both. There's not a single person on earth who's either, in the sense, just one, just divine, just masculine or just feminine. They are both energies. That's why they are capable of having that union within themselves, that sense of fulfillment within themselves. And they do not need to look outside for these kind of validations and fulfillment. You look inside for those things. And once you are happy, then it will reflect outside in 1,000 things. All sorts of delicious ways. An activated goddess is a leader. She is fire. She's authentic. She's not defined by labels. If she's, for example, how I feel about this is, I'm ready to be used by mother. And I'm dropping all limits to that. I'm all subject to this. All those kind of things I'm dropping. To be used by mother. No questions asked. If mother wants me to be fiery and fight, I will fight. If she wants me to stay put and be mum, that is what I will do. If she calls for me to dance like a mad being, that's what I'm gonna do. If she tells me to sing my heart out and cry, that's what I will do. She will guide me moment by moment. She is guiding me moment by moment, just like she's guiding you also. It's your time to take the call now and lead by example, by accepting who you are. Not this small little toy put in a small little cube. It's time to break limits and lead by example in whatever shape and form you can do it. First, start loving yourself. Your inner child should feel safe with you. That's your first and foremost job. It's not your job to go and change the world. You change yourself and the world will reflect that change that you have made inside. I felt unworthy earlier and had all sorts of negative beliefs about myself. I felt really small, and worthless. I picked that up from somewhere, and there was some trauma, all sorts of trauma actually, and many unprocessed emotions and many things I had to do. But after having processed that, today as I'm sitting here and talking to you about feeling worthy in yourself, there's not an iota in my being that's rejecting that. I know in all cells of my body, I'm as worthy as anything and anybody. And this is proof that you are the same. There might be parts of you rejecting that idea. I'm not good enough for this. I cannot do this. That's too dangerous. Well, process those emotions, process those belief systems, because they are creating your life. And if you're a divine feminine, you're going to be a mother, maybe if you choose that path, you're going to have you're always already having a direct impact on everything. We are all having impact on each other. But still, you will just because I'm a mother now, and the kind of impact how my child reflects my good, bad, ugly, beautiful aspects instantly, just like pets instantly reflect, or birds or trees, they instantly reflect your state of being. So you don't want to pass on that trauma. I don't want to pass on my generational traumas and curses to my daughter. I want to give her a clean slate to bounce right off into the stars, being fully grounded into the earth, feeling so safe, so certain that her mother had already done the work and it's now her time to break limits, even go beyond me. And this is what we want to do for our daughters and for our kids and for everybody around us. Once you are an activated divine feminine who's in her power, who's not, swayed, so to speak, who doesn't get scared easy, who isn't scared of her emotions, who isn't scared of her madness and her magic, you are going to be lauded by your guides. and they will guide you, and you will be guided on your path by mother and by father and to your highest path, and the kind of impact you would be creating. My God, it is going to be happening in the most delicious way, and you will be like thanking God, crying, my God, like, is this who I was all along? Why was I playing so small? And yes, and then millions are, impacted consciously, unconsciously, in their own way, by your glory, by your self-acceptance, by your being present. You are no ordinary human of the matrix, you are God beings. Girls, I'm talking to you, the feminines out there, the feminine energy, I'm talking to the feminine energy. Even in men, start incorporating your feminine aspect and all things that, the feminine, the very idea of femininity is connected to many ideas like the void, like flow, like abundance, like madness, like dance, like uninhibited something, flow of energy, movement. You have to void, black, darkness, spontaneity. You have to sort your relations out with all these ideas. If I talk to you about the void, and if fears start popping up in your heart or body or abdomen or back or wherever, it's time for you to dig deep, slowly and gradually at your own pace, trusting the process, getting guidance from people around you, and trusting that you will be guided at the right time, the right way, maybe through a song, maybe through some synchronicity, maybe through some coincidence or whatever you want to call it. You will be guided. And start unpacking what you believe divine femininity to be. That would be a great first step for you to start. And also, if you're already on the journey, still do this practice and see, what do you feel about the void? What do you feel about being and not doing anything? What do you feel about embracing your motherhood? What do you feel about child rearing? What do you feel about all aspects of the feminine at the root? And start sorting away the crap and keep the essence. And then slowly and I will be sharing. Oh my God, there's so much to share, guys. I want to share. I'm just bursting out. I'm like 9 months pregnant with these kind of episodes. So it's like any time now. So I'm just going to keep birthing these things, and this becoming a channel for the divine to talk through me. Thank you so much, Mother, for guiding us through this amazing, activating I hope this really touches your soul, girl. I'm not, there's no time to waste anymore. Enough is enough. Get up and rise up in your power. This is not the time to hide. I understand you might want to go through a hermit mode before you start externally reflecting that. That's way more important and way more divine than any external thing that you would ever do. First, you be an example. You lead by example. You live an exemplary life at whatever capacity, at whatever pace. There's no rush. There's no judgment. You are your unique expression. There's nobody else like you. Each one of you is different. And your job is not to fit into a particular idea of femininity or a particular idea of anything. These are labels, these are tools. You use them, and when it's time to let them go, you do not get attached to the labels. So yes, I think I've sort of not talked too much about the topic that I had intended for, but I think I have pretty much given you the energetic transmission of what an activated divine feminine feels like. What if she's a force to reckon with? She is not some ordinary little girl hiding in the back. She is all forms of, she is also that, yes. She can be anything, but she is your mother, your lover, your sister, your daughter, your worst enemy, your greatest dream, your worst nightmare. She can be anything, except all aspects of the mother, as in feminine. Accept all aspects of the feminine. And once you do that, you recognize, just like I am recognizing, that I am also my own divine masculine. And because they are the same, two sides of the same coin, they are one and the same. Everything masculine will also be incorporated slowly and gradually into this divinity, but more on that later. But first you mend your relation with the divine feminine, that this is the time to do it. Energies are conducive for that. And I am going to be leading by example. I am going to be loving myself so much and living an uninhibited life. Being anything and not being predictable. I don't care about being predictable. whatever needs to be expressed through me at whatever level of awareness I am at whatever time, that will come through and I stand behind it. And if I was not aware, I will take and accept the consequences. I'm not scared of the consequences. I will stand behind the consequences and apologize if I've done some mistake. I'm fully ready to explore my divine feminine on all fronts, all aspects, all its expressions, whatever needs to come through me at whatever moment. And that is also what's going to be true for all of you. The level of power you would be holding, you will not be an ordinary, a person who thinks they're ordinary, because none of you are ordinary. Not one. You're all unique, all special, all here to contribute in one specific way. Many ways, but in a very unique and specific way, specific to you. And we need that madness, we need that magic. We want to see you raw. We want to see you bring your, bring out the crazy, yaar. Bring out the crazy, bring out the dance and the fun and the joy and the love. But we also want balance. We do not want crazy in the sense of wounded feminine. Of course, you have to do your work, but do your work first, and then you will be activating your divine power. You don't want to be an example of what not to do. Hopefully, if that is something you want, go for it. But I don't think you do. You want to be an example of how you would want people to be, right? How the kind of impact you would be willing to create, leading by example through your own life. If that is something that resonates with your heart, you start moving in that direction. Start processing your shit. Start processing your feminine fears, of all fears associated to being a woman, having feminine energy, feminine aspects, crying, vulnerability, liking to take care of yourself, take care of your body. Process all ideas that do not align with, these kind of things and to your divine feminine essence. And slowly and gradually you will be guided to do bigger and bigger missions and bigger impact on everybody around you. And you would be surprised and you would be awestruck by your own beauty, inner and outer, your own strength, your own power. You will be amazed at how far you've come, just like I am. And I'm only excited about what Mother will do through me in this life. I'm beyond excited and happy and blessed and humbled by it, that she has chosen me and that she could guide me, that I could allow her guidance to come into my life and alchemize me, alchemize my fears into power, my hatred into love, my frustrations into flow, and all that good stuff. And I expect the same for you. I wish the same for you, all of you, and everybody that comes in contact with you. Share this essence, share this, lead by example, and do not be scared of being a woman. Do not be scared of expressing your femininity. This is the time to do it. Not in a way, I'm not talking about the wounded feminine. Do the inner work first. There's no rush. Do the inner work first. And as you're guided, and you will be guided further. Don't start changing the world outside with your wounded self and projecting those fears outside and adding to the chaos and madness that is out there. We don't want that, Enough of that already. Come home, divine feminine. This is our call to you, Mother. Come home. Reside in our hearts. Guide us every step of the way, every moment. Guide us to act in sync with our divine feminine essence, in balance, for love and for light. And that is my wish and blessings. And thank you, Mother. So it is. Much love to all of you out there. I'll be putting out so much content. I'm like brimming with things to talk about that are going to impact your life and everybody's life around you in amazing, miraculous ways. And whatever Mother wants to share through me, she will, because I'm available, Mother. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much, all of you, for being on this path and being this light worker, bringing your own light in essence and being brave enough to face your fears, to not be scared, and to also be scared and accept yourself. Then try again some more and fall in love with yourself. I'm incredibly proud of all of you and the journey that you will have. It is going to be so delicious and juicy, and we'll enjoy it together. Much love. Take care. Listen to my next episode. Whenever that will be out, who knows? Mother guides it. I follow. Love you. Take care. Bye bye.